Welcome to America Current Affairs. Imagine one of America's oldest friends is suddenly told they might have to give up a piece of their country, a piece the size of a continent.
Well, this isn't some crazy what-if scenario. It is happening right now, and it all kicked off with this absolutely jaw-dropping statement.
And you can imagine the response from America's ally, Denmark, was just as stunning. I mean, their prime minister didn't pull any punches. When she says it's a fateful moment, she means this could crack a friendship that's lasted for decades.
So this has sparked a massive crisis between allies, and it's leaving the whole world asking one major question. How on earth did this giant, icy island of just 56,000 people become the center of a showdown between global powers? Okay, let's dive into that. To really understand all this chaos, we've got to get to the bottom of it. Why does America want Greenland so badly? Well, first of all, it's all about location, location, location. Greenland is the world's largest island, and for military strategists, it's basically a dream come true. It's like a giant, unsinkable aircraft carrier parked at the top of the world. The US already has the supercritical Patuxent space base there. That's one of our key missile warning sites. It also lets the US control a naval choke point called the GIUK Gap. And of course, we can't forget about what's under all that ice. Huge, untapped reserves of minerals and natural gas. Now, this interest isn't brand new, but the way the Trump administration is going about it, well, they're digging into a very old playbook. It's called the Monroe Doctrine. The short version? It's a 200-year-old idea that basically says the Western Hemisphere is America's backyard. And in that view, having a European country like Denmark control a massive piece of North America is, well, it's a problem they feel needs to be solved. So, with those goals in mind, the US has started to ramp up the pressure in a way we've, frankly, never seen before. This has gone way beyond just talk. I mean, look at how fast things have escalated. It went from a whisper to a roar in just a few weeks. In December, Trump called it an absolute necessity. By early January, Donald Trump Jr. was literally in Greenland's capital handing out MAGA hats. And just one day later, Trump himself wouldn't rule out using military or economic force. This is a full-on pressure campaign. And this push includes actual legislation being introduced in the US Congress. I'm not kidding. There's a Make Greenland Great Again Act to let the government buy it, and another called the Red, White, and Blue Land Act to, you guessed it, rename the island after it's acquired. It's a pretty aggressive message. And just in case there was any confusion about the philosophy here, a top White House official, Stephen Miller, summed it up perfectly. It's not about negotiation. It's about pure power. But what about the people who actually live there? And what about the country that governs them? How are they responding to all this? Well, their response wasn't about money or making a deal. It was about their identity. The leaders in Greenland came together and put out a united statement saying, look, we're not American, we're not Danish, we are Greenlanders, and only Greenlanders will decide the future of Greenland. And they're not just saying this, it's actually written into their laws. The Greenland Self-Government Act is crystal clear. It says the decision on Greenland's future shall be made by the Greenlandic people. So legally, Denmark can't sell the island even if it wanted to. And public opinion polls, wow, they really show the deep divide here. A massive 85% of Greenlanders are against a US takeover. And in the US, the idea of taking it by force is supported by only 4% of Americans. There's a huge gap between the political talk and what people actually think. Back in Denmark, the public has responded with a mix of disbelief and, honestly, some pretty good satire. A popular petition started going around calling for Denmark to buy California for $1 trillion with the slogan, "Moke California Great Again." It's their way of saying just how absurd they think this whole situation is. So with the US pushing hard and Greenland and Denmark refusing to budge, the entire world is kind of holding its breath. So what happens now? This is a developing situation with enormous stakes for everyone. Here are the key things to watch. First, there's a critical meeting scheduled between the foreign ministers from the US, Denmark, and Greenland. Second, keep an eye on NATO. Other allies are already supporting Denmark, and that's putting the whole alliance to the test. And third, watch what Europe does. The European Union is thinking about stepping in to financially help Greenland resist the US pressure. So this whole crisis is really challenging some fundamental ideas about what countries are, about borders, and about power. It all comes down to one question. we'll be tracking this story as it develops. To stay informed, make sure you follow us here at America Current Affairs.